Well, hello again, everyone, and we welcome you to Blues Game Day Live alongside Joe Vitale, Darren Pang, and this isn't just any normal morning. Fellas are skating behind us. They've got a chance to win the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup is in the building. The Conn Smythe Trophy is in the building. And I'm wondering, Joe, how this team has done it, keeping the noise of the outside, the anticipation, the parties being planned, the family members.
Yeah.
What have they done so special that's caught your attention throughout the playoffs to make sure that that noise is on the outside and everything in the locker room is all professionally done?
It's been a lot. I mean, to start this series the way they did in that media day, I mean, that was step number one. I mean, an absolute circus in Boston. I think now as the series keeps progressing, you mentioned the tickets, you could so easily get off track and start thinking post-series and maybe final and Stanley Cup, and especially being up 3-2. Darren, I am super impressed by that airplane leaving Boston with you the other day. The Blues are up 3-2. Honestly, I couldn't tell if the Blues won that game or lost that game. I think it starts with the leadership in the locker room with Ryan O'Reilly and Pietrangelo, Tarasenko. I think it all stems from the head coach of this team. You mentioned, I love the phrase, they have taken on the characteristic trait of this head coach. I truly believe that. This has been the biggest asset for the Blues, is the ability to see the noise, hear the noise, but just kind of step aside and let it just kind of go right through the door. And this is why they're in the position they are right now.
I like after every game, there's so many cameras and there's so many shows that are going on, but to listen to Craig Berube after every game, we're not done yet. One more win.
Right.
One more win. So the Boston Bruins are going to come out, and they're going to come out with their backs against the wall, and they will leave nothing in that locker room whatsoever. This is going to, you have to think that every second of the game is going to be an epic journey to get to the final.
This is going to be the toughest game to win, and it is because the Boston Bruins, like you mentioned, they're laying it all on the line here tonight. It's going to be a response game for them, and not to mention, Darren, this is a group that has a handful of guys who was here in 2011 when they fell behind the Vancouver Canucks 3-2, and we all saw how that ended up. Chara, Bergeron, these kind of players, they were hoisting the Stanley Cup after winning the last two games. So this is a group that has the believability, they have the experience, that they've been here before, and they could possibly do it again. So the Blues, it's going to be the hardest victory of the entire postseason tonight.
We saw the Boston Bruins in Game 5 in Boston throw everything but the kitchen sink. And this is the great thing about hockey, is that there's a goalie involved. And obviously Jordan Binnington, he established a rookie record for most saves in a Stanley Cup Final game with 38. He was magnificent. For me, he was the first, second, and the third star in that hockey game. So the same thing could be done tonight with Tuukka Rask, who is probably the leading candidate for the Conn Smythe Trophy for the Boston Bruins, and he can turn the table the same way. So every little battle that's loose in that scoring area is going to be important. I want to move forward. Obviously, Ivan Barbashev, the guy that John Hamm made famous back in January in Los Angeles, is not going to be a player for this game. The Blues found out what happened when Oskar Sundqvist was suspended. They took a few penalties. The penalty kill gave up 4 power play goals. What changes will be made, regardless of who's on that line, would you expect from that line with Sundqvist and Steen and X?
Well, I certainly think the mindset moving forward is something that the Blues have had to deal with, and it gets back to that resiliency of this group. The hand pass in San Jose. You talk about
weren't bothered by it.
Not bothered by Oskar Sundqvist. Suspension. You learn to deal with it. It's all that next man up mentality. Listen, Ivan Barbashev. I said it with Oskar Sundqvist. I'll say the same for Ivan Barbashev. Maybe not on the score sheet, but this is a big factor for the Blues. He eats a lot of minutes. He's all situations. He kills penalty. Craig Berube trusts him. It's going to be a big hole. But again, I think that the St. Louis Blues have that depth, and I think that you look at everyone who's come into the lineup, whether it be Zach Sanford or Sammy Blais, Robbie Fabry was a factor in Dallas. Every time a young, energetic guy's coming into the lineup, they made an impact. So Craig Berube is going to do a good job. I think he's going to want to solidify that fourth line. I think with Sundqvist and Steen, he's going to want a shutdown guy there. Do we see Sammy Blais?
Whoever's there is going to have to be a trustworthy player for him, because they need some ice time, and they've been playing an awful lot.
Trust, hit, shutdown.
Yeah. The other factor here is obviously a little bit of a surprise when we started hearing that Robert Thomas, and yesterday with a skate, and it's been posted that he could potentially be on that right side with Bozak and obviously Patty Maroon. Honestly, I didn't see that coming.
Me either.
If that's the case, boy, what an encouraging sign for Robert Thomas, but again, the confidence shown by the coaching staff.
Well, we were just talking about it. Young guys coming into the lineup, fresh legs. I know he's been dealing with an injury, but for him to come back in, could that line be the same line we saw in the Dallas series? I mean, that was the best line in the entire series. We all saw what happened in Game 7, the incredible play. I know Pat Maroon gets all the accolades, but that play by Robert Thomas, that's what he brings to the game. If those three get reunited, I think that could be the spark for Robert Thomas to get on that line. That maybe is that spark for that third line. line to get those guys up and running again.
The St. Louis Blues have done a masterful job in preparing for hockey games. They've established a playoff record in the history of the NHL for the most goals scored in the first 2 minutes of a period, first, second, or third period, or overtime. They're now at 13.
Wow.
Their preparation, whatever goes on in that locker room, is something special. That's not decaffeinated coffee.
No,
That's the good stuff.
That's a couple extra shots in there, bud. Craig Berube, he talks about that a lot, though. He wants to start early, but not only have a good start. He always talks about we want to get the lead early. He goes, I always like when our lines go out there, we win the opening draw, forecheck, pound, get an early goal, because then they really
usually it's Sundqvist line.
It usually is, and they kind of go in that shutdown kind of, I guess, identity of the team. But getting that early lead is important, but that's a pretty impressive stat to come out as good as they do.
As a St. Louisan, you've got all kinds of family here. You've grown up here. How was it for you?
Oh, my God. I'm getting chills. I didn't sleep much last night. Could have been because a couple cocktails I had, but just the nerves too. But no, I think you look around the city, in big picture, Darren, this place, as you know, tonight, all day in the city is just going to be rocking. So much history here, and kids excited, parents excited, fans of hockey, fans not fans of hockey, are excited as well. So it's going to be a special night for the city, but really it is all about this game here, and the Blues have a lot of work to do.
If you're coming down and you're fortunate enough to be part of this, wear comfortable shoes. I don't think anybody's going to be sitting during the course of this hockey game. Usually it's a power play late in the period, everybody's standing. I think this place is going to be rocking. There's going to be a lot of anticipation, but at the end of it, it's all up to the players to set the tone, make sure everybody here is not nervous and the anxiety and they're thinking ahead. I'm looking forward to it, big guy. It's going to be a special moment.
I am too, buddy.
Okay, going to be a heck of a hockey game. So Joe on the radio side with Chris Kerber on KMOX. John Kelly joins in the second period. I'm going to drop by and join you as well, pal. I had a lot of fun. Obviously, the game's on national TV on NBC. Pre-game on Fox Sports Midwest. That's going to be outside. It's going to be fantastic. And the post-game as well on Fox Sports Midwest. So hopefully you join us. For Joe Vitale, I'm Darren Pang. Have a great day, everybody.